My brothers and sisters in Christ, in our first reading today, we get the famous story of the calling of young Samuel. And while the story is very familiar to us, I think there are two subtle things that we need to pay attention to, because the Lord calls each and every one of us. He calls us in the ultimate sense, he calls us as beloved sons and daughters. He calls us in the span of our life to vocation, whatever that may be, and that is a grand item of our discernment. But then he also calls us day after day, the subtle currents of the Spirit, to follow his will. And in this, we hear him call to Samuel, and Samuel famously responds, which is why this passage is so often used in matters of vocational discernment. But note that Samuel doesn't understand the calling he's receiving. Now, in this case, he's young, but often, even as adults, we can fail to recognize or understand the nature of God calling us. And so, he doesn't understand. So this should not scare us if we don't always understand. But secondly, each time he responds. And so since he doesn't understand, the form of his response comes to going up to Eli each time. He thinks he's calling him. But he says, "Here I am, you called me." So Samuel, in his confusion, doesn't just, "I don't know what this is," and roll back over and go to sleep, so to speak. But he responds. There's an earnestness, a sincerity in response to the call he receives. And so this is a reminder for us that we can get paralyzed by our uncertainty in God's call. And often it requires much discernment. It's not always crystal clear what God is saying to us, but that does not excuse us to ignore it and pretend that the call is not there. Instead, the promptings we receive in the Spirit, we need to be attentive. We need to respond as best as we can while we continue to discern both on our own and sometimes with the help of others to see what it is exactly God is saying to me. What is he calling me to do? But it's so easy just to, "I don't understand, so I disregard." No, God calls us to something very special in each and every moment, and our best interest is always in responding. Even when it seems like what God asks of us goes directly contrary to our own desires, trust me with experience in that he knows better than we do. Ultimately, saying yes to his will always brings us more joy and fulfillment than the pursuit of our own will. And so, wherever God may be calling us right now, it's okay if we don't always understand right away what he's asking, but may we never fail to respond. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. May God bless you all.